Olivia Reeves was 15 when her father gave her the mirror. It was tall, elegant, with an ornate gold frame that seemed plucked from the drawing room of some ancient manor. Perfect for a budding fashionista like Olivia, who spent hours trying on outfits and imagining herself in glossy magazines. She carried it up to her room, her father trailing behind, ready to help install it. As they passed the hall mirror, she paused, transfixed. The two mirrors faced each other, creating an infinite tunnel of reflections. Olivia felt a rush of vertigo, the disorienting thrill of staring into forever. She leaned closer, fascinated by how the reflections seemed to ripple ever so slightly, as if some unseen hand brushed the fabric of reality. Then, just as she turned to call for her father, something caught her eye. A flicker of movement deep within the reflections. She whipped her head around, but the motion was gone. Only the infinite corridor of her own face stared back. Her father asked if she needed help, and she nodded numbly, the strange moment already fading into the fog of adolescence. 20 years later, Olivia was a respected physics professor at MIT. Her life revolved around equations and experiments, her love for fashion giving way to a fascination with the mysteries of the universe. Students adored her for her hands-on demonstrations, where she turned theoretical physics into something tangible and thrilling. She prided herself on her ability to make the abstract real, but even Olivia had her limits. The past came rushing back when she unpacked a box of lab equipment one crisp autumn afternoon. Inside was a small, polished mirror, ordered for a laser experiment. As she cradled it in her hands, the words surfaced unbidden, only in one reflection. Her palms grew slick with sweat. The long-buried memory of that strange, fleeting moment when she was 15 returned with startling clarity. That evening, Olivia paced her apartment, a cup of untouched tea growing cold on the counter. Logic told her it had been nothing more than a child's overactive imagination. But why had the memory resurfaced so vividly? Her heart pounded as she searched her apartment for a second mirror. When she found one, she hesitated. The weight of the moment pressed down on her like a lead blanket. Finally, steeling herself, she arranged the two mirrors to face each other. As the infinite corridor of reflections formed, she forced a laugh. "See? Nothing but physics," she murmured, her voice trembling. Then she saw it. A flicker of motion, far down the tunnel of reflections. Her breath hitched as the mirror slipped from her hands, shattering on the floor. The fragments scattered like fallen stars, but her mind remained locked on what she had seen. She couldn't describe it, not yet, but something was there. Driven by equal parts terror and scientific curiosity, Olivia devised a plan. The mirrors in her lab were state-of-the-art, with reflection rates that dwarfed any household model. That night, unable to wait for morning, she drove to the lab and began setting up an experiment. If there was something within the reflections, she would find it and document it. The lab's sterile fluorescence buzzed overhead as she worked, her hands steady despite her racing heart. She placed two high-quality mirrors facing each other, adjusting their angles with precision. In the center of the setup, she installed a top-of-the-line DSLR camera, its zoom lens capable of capturing details, invisible to the naked eye. When everything was ready, she stood between the mirrors and stared. The infinite reflections were sharper now, the corridors of light impossibly crisp. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, in the 8th reflection, she saw it. A dark, slender figure emerged, its body a grotesque blend of organic and mechanical. Its almond-shaped eyes were pools of black, void of empathy or understanding. Its movements were unnatural, a jerky rhythm that defied biology. Olivia's hands flew to the camera, zooming in with trembling fingers. The creature raised a spindly arm and pointed directly at her. A voice, guttural and alien, echoed in her mind. Soon, we will breach these 8 barriers of light. We will come for you. We will come for mankind. The words reverberated through her skull, a psychic scream that left her staggering. Suddenly, the mirrors exploded, shards flying in every direction. The camera smoked, its circuits fried. Olivia fell to her knees, clutching her head as the voice faded into silence. When she finally stumbled home, she removed every mirror from her apartment. But she couldn't escape the creature's parting words. They played on an endless loop in her mind, a chilling promise she couldn't ignore. Olivia knew one thing: whatever was trapped beyond the 8th reflection was trying to break through, and it was only a matter of time.